Give a little time for the child within you. Don't be afraid to be young and free. Undo the locks and throw away the keys and take off your shoes and socks and run you.
It's Jordan Jesse Go. I'm Jesse Thorne, America's radio sweetheart.
Jordan Morris, boy detective.
Jordan, it's such a joy to be here on whatever day morning it is as we record another episode of our program that is called The Subdoms.
That's right. Now, is this a program about ball torture? No. We will mention ball torture. Well, you know what? It could be. It's not exclusively about that. But
okay, I signed up for something very different, I think.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy. Yeah, if you want to bounce,
that's okay.
If you
no, that's fine.
Misled
that's okay.
or yeah, I know you love I love this
I can
little
get into
CBT.
Yeah.
Our guest here, by the way, is Jeremy Bent from Eurovangelists and Mission to Zyxx, who are making a triumphant return to the world of podcasting. Jeremy, it's great to see you here.
It's great to be here. Yeah, Mission to Zyxx been gone too long, so we're coming back with our prequel series, The Young Old Derf Chronicles, later this year.
Love it. Love it.
We love a prequel. What
Who
would
doesn't
you say
love
your
a
favorite
prequel?
prequel is, Jeremy? Do you have a favorite prequel?
Best prequel. Good question. Good question.
Doesn't have to be Star Wars, but let's face it, everybody's favorite prequels are Star Wars prequels. Am I right?
I mean, they're great. I do enjoy the 12 minutes at the beginning of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where you get young Indiana Jones, River Phoenix.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is why he's afraid of snakes, but it's real fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. We have you here today because, as Jesse mentioned, this is our new hit program, The Subdoms, where we talk about subreddits and we dominate them by talking about them. What better way to dominate something than by discussing it with your friends?
I mean, you truly have ownership of something once you've done that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're discussing it. We're doing this week, of course, because it is the MaxFunDrive. Right. I have just received news. I have just been passed a slip of paper by Stephen Ray Morris that says Jordan Jesse Go now passed 900 new and upgrading members.
Whoa.
That means we are obligated to add a third Alex Inc. episode to our podcast, movie podcast, and sometimes we watch shows. That is exclusive to members. So that means we will now be watching a total of 4 episodes of Alex Inc., which is a terrible program that we don't want to watch.
I will say Stephen Ray Morris has just informed me what Alex Inc. is, and I truly feel sorry for you. It sounds very bad.
The thing you have to be careful about as you watch Alex Inc. This is just a tip for you, Jeremy.
Okay, all right, yeah.
You're definitely coming on podcast, movie podcast to talk about it with us. Is it's important not to sit in the first 4 rows. That's the Alex Braff's sweat splash zone.
It's just coming off him in waves.
Yeah, the man's mugging hard. So if you are sitting in those rows, bring a tarp. Bring a tarp with you. Pretend like you're going to see Gallagher because you will be douched in the face by the flop sweat Zach Braff emits while he's mugging, trying to get the jokeless script to appear like something on camera.
And you know what else? I'm going to add this to what you said, Jordan. Even if you're not in the front 4 rows of a Alex Inc. performance, I'm going to tell you this. Why not bring a tarp with you? Not just to Alex Inc. performances, but just around wherever. You'll never know when you might need shelter.
Put it in the back of the car.
That keeps your rear dry from the ground. Why not put that in your trunk along with one of those silver blankets?
Yeah. Keep a tarp in the trunk, people. We've been saying it for years. Keep a tarp in the trunk.
That's what we always say on our podcast, the Tarp Trunkers.
Sure. We have a lot of podcasts. Jeremy, are you doing anything fun bonus content wise on your shows? Like, are you watching anything terrible that you don't want to watch?
We have pledged that if we reach 450, that we will sing in its native Swedish, the Swedish Eurovision entry Bara Bara Bastu, which is a paean to the power of a extremely hot sauna. Uh, and so we will sing it in Swedish should we reach that goal, which we have not yet. But I am pleased to say we've met a number already, including Jordan. We will be releasing last year's Boko episode featuring you, our guest, where we talked about Eurovision 2020, the Eurovision that wasn't. So people will get that in our regular podcast feed next month, or
Oh my
in
gosh,
May, actually.
that was a very fun discussion. I cannot wait
Indeed.
for folks to hear that. What a time we had talking about the world's most insane music videos.
Yes, indeed. There were a lot of wild ones in 2020. Yeah, we're happy to share that with everybody because it's a good episode. People deserve to hear it.
How do you yourself feel about a sauna?
I like a sauna, but I will say in the song Bara Bara Basu by the band Kai, they suggest that you turn the heat up to 100 degrees, and they mean 100 degrees Celsius.
Well,
And I would call that too hot.
Think that I wouldn't say that's something you should do.
That's too much for me, I think. But they are, despite representing Sweden, they are in fact Finnish, so they have perhaps a higher tolerance for the sauna than most.
Okay.
How is the Finnish?
Jesse, I wish I could explain it to you, but I can't. I cannot. It makes no sense.
You have a podcast about it. You're the expert. Explain to us why the Finns are susceptible to high heat levels.
I can explain a lot of things about Eurovision, but why a Finnish band singing in Swedish for Sweden about saunas at an element of Finnish culture and sort of an element of Swedish culture became the winner over a previous Eurovision winner who came in second place, I cannot explain to you, other than the song is very fun.
I mean, I was surprised when the United States entry into the Eurovision Song Contest was Mana singing a song about fried cheese curds. But, it just works out that way sometimes. Sometimes some Mexican dudes have a great song about a Wisconsin delicacy. The two come together and the champion is born.
You never know. You never know.
Jesse, how do you feel about a sauna? And do you like to say it?
I love, first of all, I can't emphasize enough how much I love to say sauna.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that is how they say it in the song. They're very forceful with their pronunciation of sauna.
Yeah, it's very fun to say all of the vowels.
Yeah.
Yeah. That said, going into the sauna, it's too hot for me and it gives me a headache.
Yeah, sure. I like to add a few extra vowels into sauna.
Sure.
Yeah. One time my dad took me into like a Native American healing tent with hot rocks and stuff. My dad was working on like a
sweat lodge sort of situation.
A sweat lodge situation. Yeah, like a real sweat lodge. It wasn't like, it wasn't like Robert Bly was in charge of this sweat lodge.
Okay, good.
It was some Native Americans in New Mexico who my dad was helping organize to fight some sort of development in a sacred mountain, if I remember correctly. I was very young. But I went in there for, I'm going to call it 15 seconds.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, fuck this. I got to go. Thanks for including me in your ritual. Got to go.
Gotta go. Too hot. Bye-bye.
Gotta go play Ninja Turtles.
Oh, man.
But also at the same temperature. It's what they call hot Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Hot yoga, hot turtles. These things are both great for purging toxins, I guess. I don't
Clear
know.
out those pores. Yeah.
I have a cock and ball torture question for you that leads into the real subject of this show, which is unusual subreddits. I just opened a private window in my browser. If I go to reddit.com/r/CBT, do you think that subreddit is dedicated to cock and ball torture or cognitive behavioral therapy?
I'm going to bet cognitive behavioral therapy, but I'm ready to be wrong.
Amazing question, Jesse. Amazing question. I think God, because Reddit's probably obsessed with both those things.
Yeah, they're perfect
I
things
think-
for Reddit.
Both popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Evidence-driven mental
I
health
think-
care and distinctively brutal BDSM that is consensual on the part of all parties. Both of those
Yeah.
are big Reddit things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. I think I'll go the other way. I will say that I think it is CBT because I think cock and ball. Excuse me. I think it's cock and ball
Okay.
because
Okay.
I think that the cognitive behavioral therapy chat is probably folded into another broader therapy
Okay.
subreddit.
Yeah,
So-
that could happen.
Okay, I am going to go with, you guys are zigging. I'm going to zag.
Ooh.
I know
You gotta
this isn't one of
zag.
the options that I offered, but I feel like I should pick something different than the two of you, and I gave you
Okay.
the first two choices.
Fair.
I'm going to say this is going to be a discussion of baseball's competitive balance tax, the so-called luxury tax paid
No,
by teams
if
that have high
honestly-
God, I
payrolls to
hope it
lower
is.
payroll
I
teams.
hope
It
it is.
could be that.
Let's find out. I'm pressing enter.
all
I
right.
typed it in
He's-
already, but I
he's
haven't
typing.
pressed enter.
He's got the private browser is open.
Private
The
window.
little detective guy is watching over the history to make sure.
Cognitive
stays private.
behavioral therapy.
Yes. Yes.
28,000
Hey, not bad,
members.
CBT. Okay.
What?
Does
An
CBT
upset.
work for those without internal dialogue? It's a great question.
That's a fine question.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a very good question.
How could you
Okay.
address your own thoughts without having any internal dialogue? Tricky to imagine, but I have an internal monologue that could potentially imagine that scenario. So I don't know.
Jeremy, we asked you to bring us a subreddit to discuss today. Just
You
before
did.
we jump
You
in,
did.
are you a heavy Reddit user? Where do you like to go when you're on there?
I would say above average. I definitely go to r/guitar pedals a lot, despite being a very
Okay.
average guitar player. I love guitar pedals. I think they're really fascinating, and you can make lots of fun sounds with them. Even if you just get some cheap ones, you can really mess around and have a good time. But people love to post things like, "Oh, I got this at the Goodwill," and it's like a very expensive pedal for like $10, and you're like, "Well, you can't do that here in Los Angeles. Everyone knows music gear, and so no one will do that. You need to be from the middle of nowhere where a grandmother's like, I guess I'll bring this to the Goodwill, and you can get like a, original like TS10 or something for like $8, and it's like, yeah, that'd be
God,
great.
I'd love to
That'd be
pay
awesome.
$8. I paid $15 for my last original TS10.
That's you're not doing so bad. And I definitely I'm on video game subreddits. I got very into the video game Balatro, and then deleted it off my computer, and then got back into it. And people on that subreddit turned me on to a lot of like wild strategies where I was like, this can't work. They did work. They worked.
What's
Yep.
Balatro?
Oh boy, Jesse, I don't know how much time we have here.
Look, if you want, I'll explain Out of the Park Baseball to you, but go ahead and explain Balatro to me.
Balatro
instead.
is like a poker game where you are trying to make hands, and the hands have various values, and you're trying to reach certain blinds. But after each round of the game, you get ways to modify your deck or modify the value of certain hands, or you get jokers. Balatro, which apparently should be pronounced balatro, I think is from Latin and just means like joker or jester. And so there's 150 different jokers in the game that modify how your sort of game works. Like you can make straights with a gap in them, like 10, 9, 7, 6, 5. Like you don't need
Can
the
I ask
8.
a follow-up question here?
Please.
What are the different kind of guns in the game?
Zero.
Are
None.
any of them OP?
Nope. There are some jokers that are OP, but there are no.
I bet there's some OP
there are no
jokers.
guns.
I've heard there's some OP
There's
jokers.
some wild jokers in the game.
You
Yes,
know what?
big
I
time.
think we're 3 OP jokers.
What?
Wow.
Devs,
Is that our
Nerf,
podcast?
Jesse, Jeremy, and Jordan. They're
Nerf.
That's
OP.
our
Yeah,
podcast.
two
3 OP
OP.
jokers. Yeah.
Jeremy,
OP
what subreddit
jokers.
did you bring? What subreddit did you bring to us today?
So I sent a few to your producer, and he settled on One that I do enjoy very much because I am a space nerd. And there's a subreddit called r/ it's always the Pleiades, where people will post pictures, usually from other space subreddits like r/space, or usually r/stargazing, or conspiracy theory subreddits, where they're like, what's this I'm seeing a lot of drones, or like, what's this formation in the sky? And the answer is, it's always the Pleiades, which is also known as the Seven Sisters. It's a big group of many stars, many light years away, but it's quite bright in the night sky, and it looks like a giant clump of lights, and so people get suspicious, but it has been there for literally millions of years.
I don't know. I've only seen it for the last 30 or 40.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then maybe it's new. Maybe I don't know.
So is the chat, how would you characterize it? Is it pleasant? Is it soothing? Does it ever get spicy? What's the discourse like?
It's mostly space nerds who know, and sort of goofing on people who don't know. The spiciest it gets is when people are dunking on conspiracy theorists who like saw this drone cloud, and it's inarguably the Pleiades, and they're like, what do you think they're doing? But also there's a lot of sense of humor about it, where people will post their own photos of the Pleiades, which is also known as the Seven Sisters, or I think the scientific name is M45, because there are actually 45 individual stars within the Pleiades.
And they were discovered by a guy named Mike.
And yes, Mike 45. And people will post like, oh, a high-res photo of M45, and people will comment like, nice, you should do the Pleiades next. And like, it's that we're having fun over there. We're having a goof. It's very good-natured, I think.
What else is going on in the
are there
subreddits?
Well, r/space is like the big space subreddit, and that's a lot of like discoveries, a lot of like actual space news, and a lot of there was a trend during the pandemic of guys just taking increasingly high-res photos of the moon. Like, there was almost an arms race, because I think two guys sort of got really into it and just kept taking more and more pictures of the moon and assembling these higher and higher resolution, like 75 megapixel photos of the moon, so you could open them up and zoom in to an incredibly high degree of detail on the surface of the moon. And that's cool, but I'm also like, there comes a point where it is more cumbersome to scroll to like zoom in on the part of the moon you want to see than to like appreciate a picture of the moon,
Jeremy, give me an example of a part of the moon you want to see.
See a tranquility, check out those craters, really appreciate.
Pretty good see.
Maybe if you really wanted to get fancy, you could like try and find the lunar lander on there.
See, now there's something I want to see in a picture of the moon.
Okay, there you go.
Because I obviously don't believe it's there.
I check it out.
The moon, I mean.
Yeah, the moon. Yeah. Yeah, it's there's very little evidence sometimes of the month.
I guess I've never heard this theory of yours. When we look up in the sky and see the thing that everybody says is the moon, what is that?
That's a moray.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. It hit my eye once like a big pizza pie, so I think you're probably right. Wow, I had no idea. No moon, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Joe Biden doesn't want you to know what it actually is.
Right. Wait, so why am I turning into a werewolf once a month?
These are fair questions to ask. Yeah.
How do we...
Sure. Jordan, that's just your menstrual cycle.
Oh, yeah. Sure. It's very beautiful. Very natural.
It affects different people differently.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Your men's troll cycle, where you go from being a troll and then back to a man.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I changed from men's to troll.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a podcast. You can say whatever.
Are you troll or men's?
We don't know.
Men's
what time of the month is it?
Let us know in the comments. Are you men's or troll?
Are you men's or troll?
The chat's blowing up.
Most people say troll.
Jeremy, do you have any specific posts to share with us, or just a general recommendation to check out these
No,
subreddits?
I did bring a few. I brought some
please. Yeah,
examples
would love to
of
see
the
them.
classic of like, what is this? You know, like what this is drones. And sort of goofing on those. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, great. This one's great because this is from a conspiracy theory subreddit, and so it includes the original text of the person's post. Can we zoom in on that text? It's like, so I'm at work, right? I went outside to smoke, and I look up and see a shit ton of drone. No, they're not stars. Stars don't change colors and clusters around like that. They went from New York and New Jersey to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like facepalm emoji. Government is hiding something. Eyebrow raise, huff.
Think
yeah, I don't know
emoji,
what.
think emoji, and then an emoji that's a dotted square that says obj.
Yeah, missing.
What's that
object.
emoji?
I don't know what that is. Oh man.
Yeah.
But that
I like,
very
something I like
is a
about
photo
this.
of the Pleiades, yeah.
Something I like about this is that the writing has voice. The writing has, it's a specific style. This person wants to write like they talk. That's very amiable. So I'm at work, right? I love it.
It's like, okay, I know this
so
guy.
like,
yeah.
So I believe this person 100% because like that's an authentic detail that you cannot fake. They're at work.
Yeah.
Okay, this checks out.
I know people.
By the
at
way,
work,
is this
that makes
anything?
sense.
Is this anything I'm seeing? It actually says shit tone of drone.
Yeah.
Do you think Tony Droney could be anything?
It could be.
Maybe.
With the right backing?
Maybe.
Yeah. It's possible.
Sure.
R.I.P. Dwayne Wiggins.
The drone.
But I think a drone could do the job.
I also like that it
guitar,
has.
Jeremy. Ask on your pedal subreddit.
Yeah, I'll check out the pedal subreddit. I'm sure somebody's working on a drone that plays guitar. That would be great.
What else have we
So
got?
this thing. I was just going to ask real quick. So this thing that this person on a smoke break thought was, conspiracy drones, it is in fact the Pleiades.
Yes, which is a
Okay.
Well, we could actually, Stephen, you could bring up the high res photo of the Pleiades so that we might appreciate the majesty of what they're supposed to look like were we able to travel into space. Well, this is another like, what is this cluster of stars? And like, despite it being one of the more identifiable things in the sky, people are constantly like, what is that? And it's like, I think if you literally Googled like cluster of stars, one of the first results would be the Pleiades. So these people did not work very hard for this information. Okay, here we go. So this is M45, it is sometimes known, through a high grade telescope here. Beautiful, right? Look at all these stars.
Now I'm looking
Gorgeous.
at this here. This is clearly like a boardwalk artist's painting with airbrushes.
Yeah.
The lens flare on this is very excessive.
It's a lot of lens flare, but they're very bright stars, is what I'll tell you.
All right. Have you ever been tempted to reply to one of these posts where someone is confused, bitch Pleiades?
Oh
No, but
that'd be
man, I
fun.
hope that catches on in that subreddit. That would be fantastic.
I think you could be the new fucking hero of this subreddit if you introduce that.
One fun
something
Pleiades. Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, here's just a notion that I had, and Jeremy, let me know if I'm right or wrong.
Sure.
This is obviously like very fun. We were learning a lot about the solar system. Do you get the sense that the people who post in r/Pleiades would be insufferable to talk to interpersonally?
I think most people in the subreddit have a pretty good sense of humor about it, as it is frequently.
Okay.
I think it's more a celebration of the Pleiades. I think they would be okay.
Uh-huh.
There's other space subreddits where I don't know if that would be true, but
Fair.
Like, what I'll say is have a discussion with somebody sometime about like telescope quality and variety, and you will maybe say, this is too much for me.
Okay.
We've gone past my limit.
That's where you're getting your actuallys. Okay.
Yeah. Now, this is a fun Pleiades post, I think. People like to do this sometimes on the subreddit, which is to post things that sort of look like the Pleiades and ask, is this the Pleiades? As sort of a goof. And so, Steven, do we have that one? Yeah, here we go. And so people ask, is this the Pleiades, where it is just a sort of scrape on their knee that bears a minor relation to the shape of the Pleiades?
Now, I have a follow-up question to something Jesse
Sure.
asked earlier.
Uh-huh.
Does someone ever like post a photo and asking like, what is this? And then the response is Pleiades nuts.
Again, you guys got to get over on that subreddit. I feel like you would both be very popular over there. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. This is
Looks like we're looking at Pleiades nuts. Am I right?
Thank you.
This is, they're a lighthearted sub. I think they would really enjoy this stuff. You got to get over there.
Okay. All right. Okay.
One fun Pleiades fact is that
Please.
the Japanese had their own name for the Pleiades, which is, and it is the logo for this company. They call it Subaru.
Oh.
That's fun.
So if you ever see the
like
logo for the like a Subaru car, it's a bunch of stars, and it is literally supposed to be the Pleiades.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's great. Subaru's a reliable car, I hear.
very
My
reliable.
sister
I have a
has one.
Crosstrek. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, okay.
very happy with my Subaru Sambar.
Mm.
Oh, wow. I no idea we were you guys were such Subaru heads. All right.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I don't know if you have more Pleiades content, but if we were kind of wrapping up, I had maybe a post that I wanted to share.
I have one last really good.
Oh,
Subaru
please.
post,
Yes. No, I
which-
want to.
And this one's pretty nerdy, but I think it's worth it.
Yes.
So the author J.R.R. Tolkien did a lot of the original, like the original printing of The Hobbit was like he did the art for it. And so this is
I didn't know that.
actually
Okay.
art from the Silmarillion. And like
Mhm.
somebody is like,
Mhm.
hey, did he draw the Pleiades in this art in the Silmarillion? And it kind of looks like he did.
I don't know.
I just
That
wanna-
guy doesn't seem
wanna-
nerdy enough to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not
Just
really
wanna
what
say-
we associate with J.R.R. Tolkien, that jock macho guy.
I'm shocked that we've been doing this long, and this is our first mention of the Silmarillion. We've been doing this for
Wow.
almost 2 weeks now. This is the first time someone's mentioned the Silmarillion. Come on, get with it.
Yeah.
You guys are dropping the ball here.
That's your job.
You know what?
How you
That's
gonna
your
learn
job.
your Valar?
Here's something crazy. I went to r/Silmarillion on Reddit.
Mhm.
It's all about cock and ball torture.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's where it went. That's where it went. Okay.
It's like how r/trees
Silmarillion,
is about
please.
weed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Jordan, you want to share your
my-
special sharing?
Yeah. This is just a a little bit of an example of kind of like the alpha post of this concept of just like niche subreddit of enthusiasts. I was I thought r/milkshakes would be fruitful.
Sure.
Turns out it's not very. There's not a lot of there. Just a lot of people posting photos of milkshakes, and then occasionally someone will ask what the recipe for the milkshake is. But
Sure.
there was just one that I thought just exemplified the kind of fun that you can have on a niche subreddit. Steven, I put this in the private chat. Can you throw this up?
I'm excited to see this.
Yes.
I'm a real milkshake nut.
Me
I have
too.
an
I would say it's
entire
one of my
book
favorite desserts.
Love a
I have
milkshake.
an entire book of milkshake recipes called Modern Milkshakes by Adam Reed from America's Test Kitchen.
Okay.
Learn to
gosh.
make Earl Grey milkshakes.
Oh,
So this is
that sounds.
This is
very
just a
good.
photo of a milkshake from a fast food place with the text, "It's been so hot lately. Perfect opportunity to cool down with a milkshake. 7-Up votes."
Yeah.
The 7-Up votes is, I would say, maybe more than this post deserves.
I like to see I like to see a post like this where they were careful enough to add flair. It says a strawberry in the flare there, the post flare.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that's
Nice.
really important.
Sure.
I
'Cause,
do
again,
appreciate
this-
that because if you're in the subreddit and you're like, I am here to see chocolate milkshakes and nothing else, you can filter out those flares if you need to.
And I do like how democratic r/milkshakes is, kind of like r/root beer. Like I think we've talked about r/root beer before, and like you might assume it would be all like craft brew guys,
Sure.
talking about, their stills or whatever. And there's a lot of that. And r/milkshakes does have a lot of like gourmet stuff and a lot of like, people posting those kind of made for Instagram giant shakes. This guy's just at a fucking Carl's Jr. or something, enjoying his milkshake.
And they're not
been
above
on
it
it,
on
like-
r/milkshakes. They know.
Yeah,
Feel good.
yeah, something kind of beautiful about that. Yeah, sure. I mean, Carl's Jr. makes a good shake,
Especially
or
because it's
wherever
been
this is
so
from, I
hot
don't know, 'cause-
recently.
So yeah, tell me about it. It's been really hot lately. Perfect opportunity to cool down with a milkshake.
Exactly.
Well, Jeremy, it's been so great to have you on the Subdoms. Thank you for bringing your knowledge of what the Japanese call Subaru
Indeed.
to our program.
Sauna.
Saunabaru,
it is-
yes.
It is almost the
Yes,
very end
that's-
of the MaxFunDrive, and we are now standing before you, asking you not to put it off any longer, but rather to go to MaximumFun.org/join and become a member of Maximum Fun. Every time we've been doing this, there's been people in the comments saying, I finally did it. I got up off my butt. So on and so forth. If you're listening on the podcast, same story. Now's the time to do it. I think that every single person listening to our voices should become a member of MaximumFun.org/join. Jordan, I'm a little biased, but that's what I think. In my opinion, that's what I think. Everybody should go to MaximumFun.org/join.
I know you don't speak for me, but let me speak for myself, and I'll say, I also think that.
Now, Jeremy, you speak for both yourself and the trees. What did they
Yes.
have to say about this?
Now, this is
Think of the
you're gonna
Lorax,
think
Jesse. Think of the Lorax.
you're gonna
Okay.
think this is crazy, Jesse, but I also agree with you too. That I think anyone who is currently listening to this should also become a Max Fun member. Yeah. Yeah, this is nuts.
Well, it's a good thing it's so easy that you can just go to MaximumFun.org/join.
so
and in
simple.
all sincerity, please
Very easy,
please do
very
so.
easy. Yeah.
It's the reason we can do this show, and we really do need your help and support. So go to MaximumFun.org/join and help us ensure a long and fruitful future for Jordan Jesse Go, for Eurovangelists, for Mission to Zyxx, and for Maximum Fun in general. It's MaximumFun.org/join. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
I'll hug you and kiss you and love you. Love you. Love you. Love you.